Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय,
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita Sloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, text 32. Yes, Aditi Lata Mataji. Anyone else who needs to go first can raise your hands also. Go ahead, Aditi Lata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. 32. No, one second. Not 10, 11. Sorry. Chapter 11, text 32. Yeah, go ahead.
Shri Bhagavan Kalosmi Lokashayakrit Prabhrato Lokan Samahatamiha Prabhitta Ritvidvam na bhavishyanti sarve Yeva stita pradyanas Anikshu yoda
Anikeshu.
Anikeshu yoda. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Come I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kalosmi Lokakshaya Krita Lokan Samahartumiha Pravritta Ritepi Tvam na Bhavishyanti Sarve Yevastita Pratyanikeshu Yodha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come. Can you put it up, Mataji, please?
Yes.
And I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Swarnangi Shama Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Bhagavan Vacha Kalosmi Lokakshaya Praviddo Lokasmartum Epravita Ritapi Tvam Bhavishyan Ritepi Tvam na Bhavishyanti Sarve Ye Vashyaha Pratyanikeshu Yodaha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhanas Pranam Salve Shashat Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravritto Lokan Samahartam Iha Pravrittaha Ritepi Tvam na Bhavishyanti Sarve Eva Tishtata
Vastita.
Eva
Vastita.
Eva Avastitaha Prati
One
Anuke
second. Because there is that apostrophe in
apostrophe
Avastita, A won't come. So, Ye Vastita.
Evastitaha. Evastitaha Prati Anukeshu Yodaha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Thank you, Mataji.
Anyone else need to go first? So we'll just go in order. Achit Priya Mataji. Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kalosmi Lokakshaya Krita Pravritta Lokan Samahartamiha Pravritta
Ritepi Tvam.
Rite api tvam na bhavishyanti sarve ye avashtita pratyanikeshu yodaha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of God says, Time I am, the great destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy all people.
With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Is Achintadev Prabhu going to recite now or later? Okay, maybe not ready. So, yeah. Isha.
Mataji, I'll take the last.
Yeah, no problem. Isha.
श्रीभगवानुवाच कालोऽस्मि लोकाक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे एव स्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योधा. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
Yes. Krishna Shish.
I can't see it.
Oh. Yes. Yeah.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravriddho Lokan Samahartumiha Pravritta Ritepi Tvam na Bhavishyanti Sarve Evastita Pratyanikeshu Yodha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
Madhava.
श्रीभगवानुवाच कामोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न पश्यन्ति सर्वे एव स्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योधाः. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
Rasapriya.
श्रीभगवानुवाच कामोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे एव स्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योधाः. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy our people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
Yeah. So, is Usha Mataji here? Lokesh.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhandas Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Mataji Sloka can.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Mataji.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokashayakrit Pravriddho Lokan Samahartamiha Pravrittaha Ritepi Tvam na Bhavishyanti Sarve Eva Stita Prati Anikeshu Yodaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Thank you, Bhagavad.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Lokesh.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Kalosmi Loka
Kalosmi Loka.
क्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुम् इह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वं न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे एव स्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योधाः. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Alosmi Loka Akshayakrit Pravritto Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravrittaha Rite Pitvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Yeva Stitaha Pratyanikeshu Yodaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all soldiers here on both the sides will be slain." Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna Mataji. Next is
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, yes. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Shri
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Bhagavanuvacha Kalosmi loka Kshayakrit pravarto lokan Samahartam iha pravartatam Itepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve eva stitaha prati anikeshu yodha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Spurti?
No, Mataji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Oh, go ahead.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Loka Shakrit Pavitto Loka Samhartam Iha
Pravriddho. No, Pravrittah.
Pravrittaha
Ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve.
Ritepi tvam na bhavishanti sarve yava
Ye vastita pratyanikeshu yodha.
yavasti
Ye vastita.
ye vastita prati anikeshu yoda.
Yes. Very good. Translation.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am the great destroyer of all the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain." Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Saujanya Mataji and Prajna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam Sargosh Srila Prabhupada. First to the assembled devotees. Mataji. Sloka Mataji.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kalosmi Lokakshya Krit Pravarto Lokan Samahurtam Iha Pravartaha Tepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Ye Vastita Prati Anikeshu Yodaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Prajna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kalosmi Loka Kshaya Krit
Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravriddho
Kalosmi loka krishit pravitto lokan samahartam iha pravarta Vitepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve devastita prati anikeshu yoda. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you and the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vindhyavali Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravriddho Lokan Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravrita Tepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Eva
Pastita.
Evastita Patyanikeshu Devata. Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Did anyone not recite yet?
Mataji, I can read.
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravriddho.
Kalosmi loka shrayakrit prabhabdo.
Lokan samahartum iha pravrittaha.
Loka samahartum aha pravartaha.
Ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve.
Ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve.
Ye vastita pratyanikeshu yodhaha.
Ye vrastitaha pratyaniketu yodaha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds. I have come here to... Mati, if you scrolled. Destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers on both sides will be slain. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Did everyone recite? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, text 32. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravriddho Lokan Samahartumiha Pravrittaha Ritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Ye Vastita Pratyanikeshu Yodhaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers assembled here, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10. We are reading about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramchandra. And apparently there was a mistake yesterday. So it was Inba's family who read day before yesterday. Of course, it's understandable because we keep, we are doing it every day, so we get confused. So one devotee actually happened to listen to the previous day's recordings. So it's Isha's turn today. So Inya's family read. So we'll go down And then when we come to Narsimhalila Chaitanya Prabhu's family, Suhrid and Spurti will read, and then we'll continue like that. Okay, text 15. So what are we reading? We are reading, so Samudra is offering prayers to Lord Ramchandra. That's what we read yesterday. So what did Samudra say to Lord Ramchandra? Dull-minded. Remember? Being dull-minded, less intelligent, I was not able to recognize you. I was not able to see you. So therefore, I didn't recognize you, so I didn't come. But let me just go there. Yeah. See 14. We are dull-minded and did not understand who you are. But now we understand that you are the Supreme Master. How you understood that now? Because yes, the Supreme Lord Ramchandra, simply by his glance, he was able to perturb, agitate all the big aquatic animals in the water. So then Samudra came to his senses and he recognized that this person is actually the Supreme Person, the Supreme Lord, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and original personality of Godhead. That means he is even greater than the demigods, because even the demigods are infatuated with the modes of goodness. The Prajapatis are infatuated with the modes of passion, and the ghosts, the Lord of Ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities, like that. So there Srila Prabhupada mainly discussed this point, dull-minded. Right? Those who are dull-minded, they cannot see the Supreme Lord, they cannot understand the Supreme Lord. So then, therefore, they have to go through suffering, right? Material nature gives them suffering without being beaten. See, without being beaten, an animal cannot, because dull-minded means their consciousness is like an animal. So without being beaten, an animal cannot understand the purpose of human life. So therefore he gets beaten by material energy. And when he is punished, when he suffers, then he comes to his senses. Like in the case of Samudra here. When the Lord fasted for 3 days, asking Samudra to give a path to cross the ocean, Samudra didn't recognize the Supreme Lord. This is the nature of this world, right? Those who look to be not in power, then materialistic mentality is to exploit them, right? Or to boss over them. If you see that the person is not very powerful, and when you see that someone is in power, when someone has power, is powerful, then you try to go and flatter that person. You're, make friends with that person. This is materialistic mentality. So, of course, the spiritual consciousness is different. In spiritual consciousness, when you see someone who is less advanced than you, less powerful than you, what do? You feel compassion for that person. You go and help that person. And when you see someone who is more powerful than you worship that person. You worship. And material mentality, when you see someone who is equal to you, then you compete with that person. Whereas spiritual consciousness is, when you see someone equal to you, you make friends with that person. So, here, Samudra, he saw that Lord Ramchandra is, right, when he came to ask, and in a humble way, for 3 days he was fasting and waiting for Samudra to allow Lord Ramchandra along with his Vanara army to cross the Indian Ocean? He didn't come. Who's he? Like that, apparently. He didn't care. Also, you remember that story of the bird, right? Again, that's also related to Samudra only. Samudras, so one bird, small bird, lay eggs on the shore of the ocean, and by the waves of the ocean, those eggs were taken inside. So this bird, mother bird, who lay the eggs, became very much disturbed, and she asked Samudra to return the eggs, her babies. And Samudra didn't come, he didn't respond. Who's this? Just a small bird, right? I don't have to respond. But then the bird, after repeatedly asking, became, very determined to get her babies back. So she warned Samudra, if you don't return my eggs to me, I'm going to dry you up, right? I am going to dry up all the water in your ocean. And she actually started going into the ocean, taking one drop with the beak and coming outside and throwing it somewhere else. Again going and taking. Like this she started. And the word spread around all over, right? Everybody started talking how there is this little small bird that's, that has taken a vow to dry up the ocean unless she got her eggs back. And the word reached Garuda, king of all birds. So then Garuda came, and then he saw how this his sister bird was so determined to dry up Samudra. Then this time Garuda warned Samudra, return the eggs of this bird, my sister bird. If you don't do, then I will personally take this matter into my hands. I am going to dry up your ocean. Now Garuda is so powerful. So Samudra, seeing Garuda, he got scared and then he returned the eggs. So the point is, here also Samudra, when he saw Lord Ramchandra, no change. But when Lord Ramchandra showed a little bit of his power, he became angry. And what is the power of his anger? Yes, Mataji, there's also the spider's pastime, but here I'm saying how, acha, you want to tell in that way, like Hanumanji seeing that spider is not doing significant job, so he was kind of, I guess not very respectful to the spider.
Yeah,
so that's what you want to say.
Actually chastised him and said that whoever is doing whatever service is important to me, not how much, it's whatever they can do as per their capability.
Yes, that's right. So here the context is that when you see someone in power, then materialistic person, right? When someone has some position, some title, some power, some post, then we go and we bow down in front of that person. And someone else, even though maybe qualified, but if he doesn't have that power, it looks like he doesn't have that power, you don't even look at that person. That is the context here. So Samudra didn't care for Lord Ramchandra. Why he didn't care? Because he didn't recognize Lord Ramchandra as Supreme Lord. Why he didn't recognize? He's saying in his own words, because my intelligence is dull. Then Srila Prabhupada tells in the purport, if the intelligence is dull, then what is the nature's way to correct that? Punishment, right? So when they get punishment, then such materialistic people, they come to their senses. So similarly, Samudra also, he came to his senses, seeing Lord Ramchandra's anger, and immediately he came, fell at the lotus feet of Lord Ramchandra in Dandavat obeisances, and then he started offering these prayers, which is what we are reading now. So text 15. So did we even start reading? We didn't start reading, right? So this is the first verse. Isha, did you read? No. Okay, you read. Kamam prayahi jahi vishravaso mameham त्रैलोक्य रावणमवाप्नुहि वीरपत्नीम् बह्नीः सेतुमिहते यशसो वितत्यै गायन्ति दिग्विजयिनो यमुपेत्य भूपाः. Go ahead.
My lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravana, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the three worlds. He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him, and thus regain your wife, Sita Devi. O great hero, although my water presents no impediment to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you.
Okay. So Samudra is saying, what is Samudra saying? My lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravana, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the three worlds. That's why his name is called Ravana. Ravana means one who makes others cry. So he has that ability to make the three worlds cry, Ravana. So Samudra is saying, you can use me in whichever way you like. You can even cross me to go to Ravana's kingdom. Ravana, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the three worlds. Who is this Ravana? He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Now you know who is Vishrava? Vishrava was actually a great sage, Brahmana sage. And Ravana's mother, she was a Rakshasi. But she was, pious. Although she's from a Rakshasa dynasty, but she was a pious lady. So Vishrava is a great sage, but his son is Ravana, right? He's a great sage, but he got a son like Ravana who causes the three worlds to cry. Yes. So if the reason it is said he's like urine is both the seed for offspring and urine, they come from the same organ. But urine is something which is, get rid of that. It's of no use, it's simply waste. But from semen, a man can get a son, a worthy son. Now, if the son born of a man is not a good son, he's not a good son, rather he's just a burden and a headache, right, to the father, then such a son is not considered a son, rather he is the urine. Like means the way urine comes and it is simply waste. Similarly, the child who is born, he's compared to urine. So he's also good for nothing, basically. So he's called urine. So here about Ravana it is said, the father is Vishrava, a great sage, but his son is Ravana. So what do sages do? Sages perform austerities and they do so many yagyas. For what? For the well-being of all people. They do tapasya like Vishwamitra Muni. He was doing this yagya for the well-being of all people. That's the sages' activities, and that's their nature. They go through austerities and everything for the well-being of all people. So Vishrava is like that, he's a sage. And his son is the opposite. He's causing all the three worlds to cry. That means he is the black sheep, as they say, right? That means he is not a worthy son of his father. Therefore, Ravana is compared to his father's urine. That's all. He is of no other use. He's just like urine, which is meant to be, gotten rid of. So my Lord, who is saying? Samudra is saying, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravana, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the three worlds. He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him. Samudra is saying, I'll give you path, you can go. And I'm requesting you, please, you use my waters, you go to the other side, go to Ravana's kingdom and go and kill him. That Ravana is a pain in the neck for all people. So he is the son of Vishrava, but he's just like urine. He's of no value. So you make a path in my water, or you use my water to go to Ravana's kingdom, Lanka, and after going there, you kill him. That's my desire. Like the Samudra is saying. He's even suggesting, please construct a bridge over it. O great hero, although my water presents no impediment to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. So this was Samudra's suggestion that Lord Ramchandra should build a bridge across the Indian Ocean so that all future generations who will come after the disappearance of Lord Ramchandra, or even when Lord Ramchandra is there, who didn't get a chance to see him, right? Then so if you build this bridge, they will understand your glory. They will understand your glory. So therefore, you build a bridge across the Indian Ocean. Who can build a bridge on the ocean? Nobody. Only the Supreme Lord can do that. So that was the prayer of Samudra. You build a bridge. You don't need. It's not that you will need a bridge to cross my waters. No, you don't need a bridge to cross my waters. You can go. But still I am requesting that you build a bridge so that the whole world will see your glory. They will understand your glory. That was his purpose. Purport, Krishna Ashish. Your turn. Yes.
It is said that a son and urine emanate from the same source, the genitals. When a son is a devotee or a great learned person, the seminal discharge for begetting a son is successful. But if the son is unqualified and brings no glory to his family, he is no better than urine. Here Ravana is compared to urine because he was a cause of disturbances to the three worlds. Thus, the ocean personified wanted him killed by Lord Ramachandra.
Madhava.
One feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra, is omnipotence. The Lord can act without regard to material impediments or inconveniences, but to prove that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and was not merely advertised as Godhead or elected by popular vote, he constructed a wonderful bridge over the ocean. Nowadays, it has become fashionable to create some artificial god who performs no uncommon activities. A little magic will bewilder a foolish person into selecting an artificial god because he does not understand how powerful God is. Lord Ramchandra, however, constructed a bridge over the water with stone by making the stone float. This is proof of God's uncommonly wonderful power. Why should someone be accepted as God without displaying extraordinary potency, by doing something never to be done by any common man. We accept Lord Ramchandra as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he constructed this bridge, and we accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he lifted Golden Hill when he was only 7 years old. We do not accept any rascal god or an incarnation of God, for God displays special features in his various activities. Therefore, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.9,
Janma karma chame.
Dhammakarmasamedavya evam yo iti ratataha tyakta deham punarsanma 9180 sorsana.
Rasa prayer, you can read the last.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode or residence. The activities of the Lord are not common. They are all transcendently wonderful and are not able to be performed by any other living being. The symptoms of the Lord's activities are all mentioned in the Shastras, and after one understands them, one can accept the Lord as he is.
Okay, so let's go over the purport again. So, Samudra is suggesting that Lord Ramchandra build a bridge. And also he said, Ravana, and build a bridge, go and kill that Ravana. Right? Why? Because Ravana is not a worthy son of his father. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is said that a son and urine emanate from the same source, the genitals. When a son is a devotee or a great learned person, so he is a worthy son, right? Either he becomes a devotee or he becomes a greatly learned person. It doesn't say when the son becomes, a big manager and then he earns a lot of money, then he's a worthy son. It doesn't say that. So our standard of who is worthy, what is worthy, we have changed that standard. But we cannot set standards just because we become, we have so many titles behind our name, we have so many degrees, or we have achieved, we've gotten so many promotions in our jobs, we become, we control many people under us. As a result of that, now I will make my own laws. Can we do that? No, we cannot make our laws. Laws are given by God. Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavad pranitam. Dharma or the duties to be performed is given by whom? Who will decide? It's decided by the Supreme Lord himself. So here we are seeing that who is a qualified son, right? How do you decide who is a qualified son? You'll have to refer to Shastra, who is a qualified son. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying, if the son becomes a devotee, or if he becomes a very learned person. Again, when you say learned person, you shouldn't think somebody who has done double PhD, triple PhD, so he's a learned person. No. Learned means someone who by his learning has come to the realization that I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, right? And actually the highest really learned person would be he. By dint of his learning, he comes to the conclusion that now I should do bhakti. So all of you in this group, you're all certainly learned and all devotees also. So you're all worthy children of your parents. Like that. Worthy, right? According to Shastra, the standard of being worthy is either you're a devotee or a very learned person. But was Ravana a devotee of the Lord? No. Here Ravana is compared to urine because he was a cause of disturbances to the three worlds. Such a bad son, not only is he giving pain, suffering to his immediate family members, but he gives pain to all people and even the devotees of the Lord in the three worlds. So, yeah. Therefore, he is no better than urine. He is not a worthy son. He is giving pain and is causing disturbance to the three worlds. So, therefore, Samudra is saying Lord Ramchandra should kill this Ravana. He is an unworthy son. He is as good as urine. Kill him. So, Lord Ramachandra's one feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Ramchandra is omnipotence. What is omnipotence? Potency means power. Omnipotence means all powerful. All powerful. The Lord can act without regard to material impediments or inconveniences. But to prove that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and was not merely advertised as Godhead or elected by popular vote. Yes, I'll read that. Or elected by popular vote, he constructed a wonderful bridge over the ocean. Achha. So just like, you see, Arjuna asked Krishna to show the universal form. Why? Because Arjuna didn't know about Krishna. No. He wanted so that people in future who haven't seen Krishna when Krishna was there, but where they will see Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's words, and there they will see the universal form. They will hear about the universal form. And now we can accept Krishna as Bhagavan. And anyone else comes and they say, oh, this person is also Bhagavan, then can you show universal form? Krishna showed universal form. Can you show? Nobody can show. Therefore, they are not Bhagavan. So, but Arjun's asking Krishna to show the universal form is significant. Why he is asking Krishna? For the people of future. Similarly, here also Samudra is saying, my Lord, you build a bridge across my ocean, across me. Samudra is saying. So, Lord Ramchandra is omnipotent. Does he need a bridge to cross the ocean? He doesn't need anything. He's all powerful. We will need a bridge to cross the ocean, or an airplane, or a boat. Lord Ramchandra does not need any of this. He is omnipotent. Okay? But still, he constructed a bridge to cross, even though he is omnipotent. But to prove that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can build a bridge across the ocean? So to prove that he is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he built the bridge. Otherwise, he had no need of bridge. You understand? Nowadays, it has become fashionable to create some artificial god who performs no uncommon activities. Yeah. Oh, so and so is an incarnation of God. What wonderful activities does that person perform? Can he show universal form? Or can he lift a mountain? Why a mountain? Can he lift a table on his little pinky and hold it there for 7 days? So without any wonderful qualities, without any wonderful activities, you simply accept any person as God. Srila Prabhupada is saying this has become fashionable. Create some artificial God who performs no uncommon activities. A little magic will bewilder a foolish person, right? If somebody produces ashes in his hand, oh, he's God. A little magic. Magic even a magician can do. That does not mean that all magicians are God. But for a foolish person, if someone does a little bit of magic, then oh, this is the Supreme Lord. So, Lord Ramchandra is not this type of God, right? Who is artificially created God, right? No, he's not that type of God who bewilders foolish people by his, some magic or something. He's not an artificial God. But foolish people will accept artificial God. Why? Because they don't understand how powerful God is. Lord Ramchandra, however, constructed a bridge over the water with stone by making the stone float. This is proof of God's uncommonly wonderful power. Why should someone be accepted as God without displaying extraordinary potency by doing something never to be done by any common man? Yeah, is it a small post? Being God, is it just like some, small position? Supreme personality of Godhead, and you'll accept just like that without any proof. So, no, he has to perform some wonderful activities. So, Lord Ramchandra is building a stone bridge on water with no pillars or anything, and the stone floats on water. This is the wonderful activity based on which you can accept him as a supreme God. We accept Lord Ramchandra as a supreme personality of Godhead because he constructed this bridge, and we accept Lord Krishna because he lifted Govardhan Hill. We celebrated Govardhan Hill just recently. Yes. So he lifted Govardhan Hill when he was only 7 years old. Therefore, you accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. We should not accept any rascal as God or an incarnation of God, for God displays special features in his various activities. Therefore, the Lord himself says, Janma Karma, one who understands who he is in truth, about his birth, about his activities, how they are transcendental, they are not material. Tattvataha, that means one who understands in truth, after giving up this body, he doesn't have to take another material body. But he will come to me. This is Krishna's assurance in Bhagavad Gita. So that people in future will understand the position of Lord Ramchandra, that he is not an artificially created God, but he is the Supreme Lord. Samudra asked Lord Ramchandra to build a bridge. And such a bridge can only be built by Lord, the Supreme Lord, where stone is floating on water. Like that, okay? So, because we are going a bit slowly, we're getting... so tomorrow, we'll read tomorrow, that's the point. Actually, what happened is, in Bhag, yesterday, you read day before yesterday, right?
Mataji, I think so, yes, Mataji.
Yeah, and yesterday, Isha didn't read, but we went to Mataji, Swarnangi Mataji and Prabhuji. So then that was it was a mistake. So today we went back to Isha. So we are continuing from you only. After that, you didn't miss a turn yet.
Oh,
so
okay,
now, so Isha, all four of them read today. Lokesh will read next, and then Usha Mataji, Medha, Sonia Mataji, Lokesh, then Sonia Mataji. Like that will go. So you'll get your turn after, depending on.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, Mataji, thank you.
Sure. So now, tomorrow, Lokesh, if you're there, you'll read tomorrow. If not, Sonia Mataji will read. I'm sorry for being so drowsy today. I'm just feeling sleepy. Okay. Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Introduction. Continuation of our introduction. I'll just read this paragraph. In the Bhagavad Gita, worship of different demigods or rendering service to them is not approved. Yeah. More than one place Krishna says this. Several places Krishna says this. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, worship of different demigods or rendering service to them is not approved. It is stated in the 7th chapter, 20th verse, Kamaistaistai hritagyana prapadyantenya devata. Prapadyante means worship. Anya devata. Anya devata means other than Krishna. Who worships? Kamaistaistar. Kama means lusty desires. One who has lusty desires, what happens to him? Hritagyana. His jnana, his knowledge is stolen away by his lusty desires. Lusty desires means desires to enjoy material happiness. One whose intelligence is stolen away by a desire to enjoy material happiness, such a person worships the demigods or the gods other than the Supreme Lord. Tam tam niyamam astaya prakritya niyata swaya. And then they worship that particular demigod according to the rules and regulations, the vratas, the particular system, right? For each demigod, there's a particular system. They follow those systematically to get their result. So those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Again, this is important. According to their own nature. Why their nature is different? We are all living entities. Then why their nature is, somebody has a nature to worship this demigod, someone else has a nature to worship that demigod, and someone else worships Krishna. Why? According to their nature. So our nature, we have one nature that we have, acquired nature. Acquired nature comes by association of the modes of material nature. Right? So depending on your particular combination of modes, right? Because the demigods are also, demigod worship is also divided according to modes. I read it recently. I'm forgetting where I read it or came across in a class. But those who are in the mode of goodness, maybe it was in Tattva Sandarbha. You can tell me if any of you are attending that course. But those who are in the mode of goodness, right, they worship Lord. Okay, yeah, I think those who are in goodness, they worship Lord Vishnu. And those who are in passion, they worship Lord Brahma. Those who are in ignorance, they worship Lord Shiva. And also you have, and they also worship Pitra Devatas like that. That means the point is, according to the material modes in which a person is primarily in. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're primarily in the mode of ignorance, or if you're primarily in the mode of goodness, or primarily, then everyone has a combination, mix of three modes. But which one is prominent? Then that person will have that type of nature, and he will be attracted to that particular deity. So that deity is there in this creation for such type of people only, because there will be all different types of natures, and the Lord's program is to gradually guide everyone to progress further from wherever they are. Those who are in the mode of goodness, those who are in the mode of ignorance, if you tell them to take to directly to worshipping Krishna, render pure devotional service, they won't do, they cannot do. They won't do it. Even in transcendentalists also, if somebody is, has his shraddha in worshipping the universal form, he cannot take to pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead right away. He won't be able to take, because he got shraddha in that type of worship. So instead of rejecting everything, the Vedas give, okay, this type, people who have this type of nature, how he got that nature, that's not his original nature. That nature is because of association. That means one who is primarily in goodness, then he will be attracted to this particular demigod. One who is in the mode of, primarily in the mode of ignorance, he will be attracted to that particular demigod. Who is in charge for that? Or, who is in that? Actually, the demigods are also in those modes. Yeah. The demigods are not transcendental altogether. Or, they're in charge for people of those modes. Like that. So they take worship. They accept worship from people in those modes. So therefore demigods are also categorized. Demigods means demigod worship. Demigod worship is categorized. This worship is in this mode, or worship to this demigod is in the mode of goodness, worship to that demigod is in the mode of passion, and worship of another demigod is in the mode of ignorance, like that. So here Krishna is saying, Kamaistaistar Hritaghyana Prapadyantenya Devata Tam Tam Niyamam Asthaya Prakritya Niyatasvaya. According to their nature, they will follow the rules and regulations of that particular demigod. Why? Because their intelligence is stolen away by a desire for material sense gratification. And then they will worship the demigods, like that. Prapadyantenya Devata. Okay. Here it is plainly said that those who are directed by lust, right? Kama means lust. Those who are directed by lust worship the demigods and not the Supreme Lord Krishna. And then there's another category. They're called Pashandis. Pashandi actually means an atheist. So anyone who considers the worship of demigods and worship of Krishna to be the same, right? Oh yes, I'll worship Krishna also. I'll worship my demigod also. And I give same position to both. They're called Pashandis. It's an offense, isn't it? One of the 10 offenses. The second offense. To consider the names of the demigods to be equal to or greater than the names of Lord Vishnu. This is the second it's an offense to the holy name. So anyone who thinks like that, then he's called a Pashandi. Pashandi means atheist. He is worshipping, but still is called an atheist. Like that. So when we mention the name, so here it is plainly said that those who are directed by lust worship the demigods and not the Supreme Lord Krishna. When we mention the name Krishna, we do not refer to any sectarian name. Krishna means the highest pleasure, and it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is the reservoir or storehouse of all pleasure. We are all hankering after pleasure. Like, let's say you want to buy, what do you want to buy? Okay, you want to buy fresh vegetables. Okay, so where do you go? You go to produce market, right? Where you get fresh vegetables, fruits. You just go there. If you want vegetables, you just go there. So we are all seeking pleasure, and the storehouse of all pleasure is Krishna. Is it not natural that everyone should just go to Krishna because he is the storehouse of all pleasure? Then what is the position of the demigods? If they don't give pleasure, why everyone is going? Whatever pleasure they are giving, it is borrowed. Borrowed from Krishna. from Lord Vishnu. They borrow it, they pray to the Lord gives it, and then they pass it on. They pass it on to their worshippers. They cannot even instill faith in their worshippers to worship them. Let's say somebody is a devotee of X demigod. That X demigod cannot even instill Shraddha in his own worshipper to worship him. He cannot instill that. Who gives that Shraddha? The Lord in the heart, Paramatma. He gives Shraddha towards that demigod. Why? He gives because I have such desires out of his kindness. I want to enjoy these desires. So the Lord says, okay, you go to this demigod, you get your desires fulfilled. And he'll give Shraddha towards that particular demigod. But when we see such type of worship, such type of Shraddha in demigods, what should we understand? Kamaistaistar Hritagyana. Their intelligence is lost. No matter how much you tell them, they'll do all that also. We want to do this, that, and everything. But when we say Krishna, Krishna is the highest pleasure. He is the reservoir of all, the storehouse of all pleasure, and we all want pleasure. Anandamaya Abhyasat. The living entities like the Lord are full of consciousness and they are after happiness. The Lord is perpetually happy, and if the living entities associate with the Lord, cooperate with Him, and take part in His association, then they will become happy. Srila Prabhupada says in a lecture that, or maybe we even read this in the introduction itself, in another paragraph it had come, that what is the whole program of this Bhagavad Gita? What is the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita? I am Sanatan, living entity. The Supreme Lord is Sanatan. His eternal Dham is Sanatan. To bring all these three together. To bring the three Sanatans together. Although I am Sanatan, now I am in non-Sanatan atmosphere. Sanatan means eternal. Right? But I am surrounded by, even my identity is not Sanatan. There is a beginning and an end to this identity. I started at a certain date. I was born at, before that birth, there was no identity. I had no identity as I know now, right? Now, if you ask me or you or anyone, who are you, what will you say? Immediately you'll tell your name and which community or country or, you are from, what language you speak, what job you do, your address, your phone number, like that. That means all this identity which we attach it to ourselves, right? All this identity that has some beginning. It started at some point. So something which is starting at some point, it is not Sanatan. Sanatan means it has no beginning. It has always been there. My true identity is I am Sanatan. But I am attaching such an identity to myself which is not Sanatan. And that is why all the trouble. That is why all the suffering in this world. So what is the project? What is the mission of Bhagavad Gita? To bring all the Sanatans together. The Supreme Lord is anywhere there in His abode. The only thing is we are separated. We are here. With all these non-Sanatan dharmas, right? Non-Sanatan place, non-Sanatan relationships, identities. And getting embarrassed because of this. Because I am Sanatan and I'm trying to find that Sanatan situation in a non-Sanatan atmosphere. Right? When people build a house, they'll think, oh, this is, you don't keep building a house so many times, only once. This is for a lifetime. This is for a lifetime, and not nowadays. But those who take the trouble to actually build their houses, right? They plan and do, and their thing is like, this is a lifetime. So for that, They make all these plans. That means the tendency of eternity or eternality, right? Of wanting to be there eternally, that's there in all of us because we are actually eternal. But the problem is we are trying to make the temporary eternal. This body is temporary. We want to preserve this body. We want to keep it eternal, right? Some people, they have told their assistants or associates to preserve their bodies after they die. And in future, in science, when they will, science will make advancement, they'll be able to bring the dead back to life. Then you bring my body back to life, I'll come back. Trying to make this temporary body eternal, or this home, temporary home, eternal. Temporary relationships, eternal. And they lived happily ever after. What is ever after? For how long? But this should tell us that that desire is there, wanting to be there forever, wanting to be happy forever. Why it is there? Because my nature is I'm Sanatan. Where can I? So my question should be, where can I find this? Not here, because this world is not Sanatan. It has a beginning and it has an end. Sanatan is the spiritual world. There the Sanatan Lord is there, and that planet is Sanatan, and I am also Sanatan. So Bhagavad Gita's purpose is to bring all three together. The two are already together, you should also go there. How to go there? That Bhagavad Gita tells us. Okay, so I'll stop Bhagavad Gita reading here. We read only one paragraph. And let's read a little bit of Leelamrita. Anandamaya Bhyasa. That's why I was telling this. Because we are seeking pleasure. So how can we get pleasure? Once we go and join him once again. Right? That's when we can get pleasure. Otherwise, we'll be looking for pleasure in so many things in this world and we'll only get embarrassed. We won't get because there is no pleasure here. There is no pleasure. Ananda is not there. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Okay. So yeah, we got a break in between what we were reading before. Okay. So Tagore House, Tagore Society of New York. So Srila Prabhupada, who's this Tagore Society of New York? You remember? Okay, the previous what we read was how Srila Prabhupada writes to Srimati Morarji and trying to inspire her to help in getting a temple for ISKCON in America. And then we are talking about the Tagore Society. So this person, Daud Harun, is saying, Daud Harun had never met Srila Prabhupada. He was a musician living downtown and he used to attend the meetings of the Tagore Society up on 64th Street. Daud Harun, I went uptown and walked into the auditorium and I noticed that the stage was empty and a few people were sitting toward the rear of the auditorium. I walked forward down the center aisle because I usually like to sit up front. Then I saw an old gentleman sitting over to the right and he sort of drew me over to him. So I went over and sat beside him and then I noticed that he was saying his beads. Even though he had his beads in a hand, I could hear them and I could see his body moving and I felt very comfortable because this was something I was used to. As I was sitting there looking around the auditorium, he just turned around and smiled at me very nicely. He nodded his head and I nodded my head, and he smiled and turned around. Then he turned back to me again and softly asked me if I was from India. I said, "No, sir, I am not from India. I am from here, the United States." He turned back and he kept chanting with his beads. Then he turned around the next time and asked if I was a Hindu. I said, "No, sir, I am not a Hindu. I am a Muslim." And he said, "Oh, very good, very good. Yes, many times I hear the children in India reciting the Quran." And then he turned back around and his body was moving, rocking, and he was working with his beads. Then there were a few more exchanges of pleasantries, sort of intermittent. And then a lady came up on the stage and announced that the lecture was to begin, and if the folks could give the speaker a round of applause, they would welcome him to the stage. At that point, the man I was sitting next to put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Excuse me, sir, could you do me a favor?" And I said, "Yes, anything." He said, "Would you watch over my books?" I looked down on the floor and he had several boxes of books and an umbrella and several other articles. I said, "Yes, I would watch over these." And he said, "Excuse me." He walked up the aisle and surprisingly, he walked up on the stage. And it was the man I had come to hear, Swami Bhaktivedanta. He walked up on the stage and introduced himself to the people and tried to get them to come forward. He said, "Come forward, come forward." A few of them came up to the front. There were mixed couples, many Indians, male and female, mostly middle-aged and some college-aged. A lot of professor types and ladies were there. Then he began his speech. He dove right into it. He just started exclaiming, proclaiming the greatness of the Creator, and that the most important thing is to remember the Creator and remember God. He began to expand on God consciousness, what God consciousness is, and how God is everywhere, and how it behooves us all to remember God, no matter what we call Him, what names we call Him by, but that we should call Him. He gave a demonstration which was very moving. He chanted Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, and spoke about the power and saving grace in the mantra. He took a little break about halfway through and had some water. The last thing he said as he was coming down from the podium was that he had copies of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He explained that he had been working on them and that they came in 3 volumes and were $16. Then he concluded and came down. A lot of people went over to him. Some were timid, some were enthusiastic. Some people shook his hand and were asking for books. At first, there were about 15 people gathered around him, talking to him and asking questions. With so many people around, he came over to me and said, "Sir, would you do me one more favor? Will you kindly take over the selling of the books? People will be coming to you for the books, so you sell the books and put the money in this little box, and I will be with you in a minute." I said, "Fine." So while he talked to the people, others came up to me. They must have thought I was somehow his secretary or his traveling companion, and people were coming over to me and asking me personal questions about him, which I couldn't really answer because I didn't know. Some people were buying the books or looking through them, so this went on, and I was trying to listen to him carry on his conversations with people and carry on the book selling at the same time. Some of the people were looking for a guru and trying to find out what he was supposed to be. Some of them were really interrogating him, but he just smiled and answered all their questions simply. I remember he told them, "You will know, there's no pressure. You will know if I am your guru." He suggested that people go over and read the books. And then the group dwindled down to about half a dozen, and the few remaining were just looking at him, and some were too timid to approach him. He walked over to them and spoke to them, putting them at ease. Later he came over and we counted the collection, and I helped him pack up his box and carry downstairs the boxes of books that were left. As we parted, he thanked me very much, and I gave him my name and address and phone number and purchased a set of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this person, he got to serve Srila Prabhupada right? Sell the books for him, watch over his books, sell the books for him, and finally he even got a set of Bhagavatam. He paid also and got a set of Bhagavatam. So I don't know what happened to that person now, but certainly his devotional life has started. Saujanya Mataji.
So, Mataji, what you just read was written by the person who was
Daud.
observing. But what is his name?
Daud.
Yeah. So he was a Muslim.
Yes.
And then, but I always get confused. So this book is written by someone, I forget the name.
Swarup Maharaj.
Swarup Maharaj. And he's bringing all the compilations. So he must have read this somewhere where somebody who wrote this.
He went and interviewed so many people.
Oh, so that's how he would have met this person. And you're just saying we don't know where he's now. That's all.
I am saying who that person is today. If he's like an initiated disciple, if he actually because he got Bhagavatam, he took a set of Bhagavatam. So I said, I don't know who this person Daud, because if he had been an initiated devotee later on, that name also would have been there, right? Later on you'll see. But that's not mentioned, sir.
So this other person was sitting and Srila Prabhupada entered and then he sat next to him and asked, are you Indian, Muslim and all that, right?
No. Prabhupada was sitting before and this person came.
Then why he said, are you Muslim? Yes.
So he said, you're from India. He looked like, Indians.
Srila Prabhupada asked him if he was from India. Okay.
Yes.
I got a little confused there. Yes.
Because when he would go on the stage, when Prabhupada would go on the stage to give his talk, he wanted someone to look over his books. So beforehand only, he talked to a neighbor who was sitting there. And then he said, can you watch over my books? And he said, okay, like that.
And that he was rocking in the chair. That's all about Srila Prabhupada, that other person telling, right? I saw this one person sitting with the beads. That is about Srila Prabhupada, the person who interviewed.
This person, same person observing Srila Prabhupada chanting.
Wasn't telling. Okay, got it. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, thank you very much. We went way over time today. Sorry.
Whenever I hear even this 1 minute of Lilamrit, I feel, Krishna, when I'll get time to read all this, what to reduce, what to increase. In this birth, at least, will I get to read like that, and all thoughts come, Mataji, but I don't know. Krishna.
Yeah. I also get. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.